Hey, what's up, Guardians? Guardians. The most recent tier to shoot themselves in the foot, as humans do. Oh, let's see here. And also, just know that I'm typically half joking when I'm talking to Kevin about that stuff in front of you guys. If it was dead serious, I would have messaged him privately. But there's some truth to it, right? Let's see here. So a bunch of people paid into Guardian probably because we announced the tiers were changing, and I just want to make sure that you guys know Guardian is not. It's not. You don't pay to be more helpless. It's the exact opposite. In my world, it's context for you guys. In my world, you pay for proximity. Right? You pay for insight. You do not pay to be saved. That's what internet marketing coaches, consultants that want you to need them do. You do not need me. I never want you to think that you need me or anybody else, right? So at this level, at the level that we are going to continue to play at, like, Dr. Jeff Spencer, we spent a lot of time together. If I'm hanging out with Dan Nicholson and we're going to a football game and have a dinner or lunch with Bank of New York, like it's people are paying, I don't know, maybe $50 million under management to be part of those things. And it's not that there's no saviorship. There's no help me. So just understand, and it's cool. Everybody in here, you're going to stay in here. We're going to get through this together, and we're going to make a lot of money together, and we're going to help reorient thinking. But the helplessness is I don't want to say disappointing. It's not unexpected, but that's not as you pay in the real world where you pay to climb the ladder, right? So meaning you go from big fish to small pond to small fish in big pond. You pay to make that jump. That's what happens. And remember, there's currencies. You might pay with time. It might be an identity thing. It might be money. That's the most common one. It could be energy. You could just put in the work. Reputation. You could build a reputation that gets you into a bigger pond. So when I say you pay, it's not always money. That's just the thing that lazy people default to because they don't want to put time. They don't want to build an identity. They don't want to put energy, and they don't want to have to build a reputation because that requires work. So money is actually the lazy thing that people default to. And if you want that acronym, it's TIMER. Time, identity, money, energy, reputation. There's other things, legacy, stuff like that. Peace of mind. You can give somebody peace of mind and immediately get upgraded in their world. Rightfully so. So just understand that I'm not going to be not going to be hard, but going to be stern because it's never. I'm not saying this is happening. I'm saying it's leaning this way. In our world, you will never pay more in order to be more helpless. That is not. There are plenty of people that will get you to pay more so that they seem more important to you, so that you need them. We don't do that. So here's a good example that I just shared in shifting your thinking. And like, you have to realize as a guardian, as a guardian and or a direwolf, this is what you have to realize. Everybody else can do whatever they want. You have to realize that I'm going to speak. Okay, I cannot speak the way my brain works. It will not get through to anybody. So I'm going to speak in APR and APY and dollar amounts and all that stuff because it is the only way that other humans are going to be able to process and inform their behavior. What you have to know is that just like a UI is back calculating and showing you what you need to see, that is what I'm doing when I'm communicating with people. That's not how my brain works. You could take things at face value, but it would be useful to reason through, like, okay, he said this because this is what has to be said in order for a regular human to be able to process it. But what does it actually mean? So I just explained in the Discord here. Imagine you own a house, right? And every day Just for owning the house, you're getting more square footage for free. You're getting more land for free. Once you max out your land, you start getting more land. So every day you're getting more land for free. The value of that land depends on the market. It doesn't just go up. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up. But on average, every 5 years, it's worth more than it was. So getting more square footage for free is almost incalculable. It's incalculable, the value, especially if you're going to be in for a long time, right? This is assets growing assets. This is you own a house, and just by virtue of owning that house, you're getting more square footage. So if you're sitting in an auto compounder, that's how you would think about it. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you're sitting in a farm, you own assets, let's say Guard BUSD, but you're actually getting Microsoft stocks. You're getting a different asset. The price goes up, the price goes down. The question is, do I want a shit ton of Microsoft stock or not? So you have one asset and it's yielding you a different asset. This is how a very high level functioning crypto investor is going to think. Okay, I have these assets, I'm yielding these assets. Maybe I just want this asset to yield more of this asset. Maybe I can use this asset to yield this asset, to use this asset to yield this asset. But the day-to-day value doesn't matter. It doesn't. If you know you want as much property as possible in 2025 because you think there's going to be a real estate boom in this specific city, then what do you care? The cheaper it is right now, the better, because you have a macro belief. Hopefully that makes sense. Like these are the things I've been trying to communicate that I am not articulating well, and I'm surprised when the higher tiers, Guardian, Direwolf, completely swing and miss on it. And that it's entirely, I mean, happy to take the blame for that, right? I need to articulate it better, but hopefully this makes sense. We're thinking asset accumulation. Of course, if you want to think in US dollar, you're welcome to think in US dollar. You have to admit to yourself that you're not an investor you're not an investor in assets, right? Which is cool. You still get more US dollar in this world using these strategies than you will in a savings account or the S&P. Okay. So something to think about. Assets growing assets. It can be the assets growing more of the same assets, right? So if you're at night, if you have your night sitting in the night pool, then you have an asset getting more of the same asset. So if you want that asset, that's very, very, very good. If you're sitting in the night or if you're sitting in the Guard BUSD for night pool, and then you're going night for night, what you're doing is you're using one asset to get a different kind of asset. And then that second asset you're using to get more of that second asset. If you went Guard BUSD to night and then night to sit in this raid here, let's say you really like DEP, right? Then you have this asset getting you more of this asset, getting you more of this asset. The actual value today doesn't matter if these are assets you want. Now, of course, if you just use your brain and process things on a few different levels at the same time, which it's not natural for a lot of people, you can get this asset, you could have this asset, okay? You could accumulate more of this asset, night, so your portfolio is growing, and you can use these raids and just sell them every day. So you can actually grow your passive investments or your portfolio and optimize for cash, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So this would be like accumulating properties and collecting rent. You can grow your portfolio, not worry about what the value is for 5 or 10 years because you're just growing it and simultaneously creating cash flow. Very simple. I going to continue to try to articulate this. I'm not sure how this is so difficult to process, to be honest. But that's okay. Like I'm here to try to help people see what I see, and then they may understand it and then see something even better that they can turn around and show me. So this is like a world of asset. Like you could go deal with a bunch of real estate, which is a nightmare, collect rent, take that rent, put it in the stock market, maybe get dividends on some of those stocks, yada, 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 yada. Or you could do all of that with a much higher return, much faster, with a few clicks, way less barrier. And yet people are still finding a way to muck it up. It's amazing. So, I don't know where the sing pool is. Hold on, let me see. The sing raid disappeared. I don't know where it's at. It's probably just UI thing. Got hidden or something. So, here's the thing. Our number one priority, protect the price of night and get volume through. Okay? As guardians, I make suggestions. This is how you protect the golden goose. There's absolutely times where I'm like, hey, this is mandatory guardian task. If you're not willing to do this, you don't really belong in this tier. This is a very strong suggestion. It's not mandatory because you have your own time preferences, and I can't tell people what to do with the majority of their money. It's not appropriate. I could say if you're not willing to do this, like if you're not willing to change your time preference, then you don't belong here. But I can't tell you what to do with your money. These raids, right? We want to keep them under 200%. We want to keep them under 200%. Now, this one just skyrocketed, which means this token price probably just fucking skyrocketed. Okay? The reason is if these are over 200%, people will stake here. And if this is over 300%, so this is another option, people will stake here because the incentive is not great enough to create liquidity, right? So we know that there's a few ways that we can keep this under 200, and this is inside baseball for Guardians. We could throttle the emissions down. Everybody makes less money. Or we can engineer it so that the Wolfden, that's our team, Guardians, dire wolves, sits in a majority of this and takes home a majority of the increased emissions. So you have to understand that you're not obligated to do anything, but a little bit of, if all the Guardians just get a little bit greedy or they want to do something a little bit different or whatever, it just hurts all of you. Because all we're going to do is we have to throttle all these emissions down. Because if this is 500%, okay, why would somebody come in here and create LP for 190%? For 500% here, right? But you have to, it's more work. 94%, 400%. So hopefully you understand that there's a psychological game here. Not everybody using night is the Wolfden. We don't want everybody using night and Wolfden. We want millions of people that have no idea what they're doing, wrecking themselves. That's where a significant amount of the upside comes from. You know, all the trading fees, which you can see if you go to analytics and overview, you can see the volume. All the trading fees go back to buying night. So I know that we post about it, but we post about, understand that we post all of this stuff for the very few people. It's signal for the very few people that are willing to listen. We don't actually want 100% of holders to follow our methodology. There would be no winners. That's how a market works. A market works by a bunch of people doing the wrong thing. If everybody did the right thing, it wouldn't be a market. Right? If everybody did the right thing, they'd all be in early right now, and y'all just be waiting to sell on each other. So inside the Wolfden, help people be more patient, help people understand the methodologies, help them get in and out safely, because that's our den, that's our pack. Outside of the Wolfden, don't waste time and energy. Don't worry. Somebody was like, well, what if a whole bunch of people find out and they come in and they sell night? Like, awesome, because guess what? They had a buy night. If you did not have the Wolfden, would you really know to buy guard BUSD, yield your night, and pair it? No, you would see these APRs and you'd ape into night. So we actually want people making less than ideal decisions for themselves, but we will not encourage it, right? The ethical part is teach people the way. The reality and the way this is built, and it's why I am in a market instead of coaching and consulting, is I don't have to save people. Okay? None of us have to save people, which means if they're not friends, family, if they're strangers, let them wreck themselves. It benefits us. Okay? There's a little bit of like oh no, the whole world's not going to follow our strategy. Well, like, no shit. They shouldn't. This whole thing was built knowing they won't. If the whole world followed our strategy, this guard BUSD would be a 0% APR because it'd be $1 billion in there. And everybody would be getting a tiny bit of night. And I don't know, maybe selling these raids off, right? But that's not actually what we want. We want people aping into DEP. We want people going, ooh, DSG, what's that? And getting distracted and going over there and buying it, because when people buy DSG, right, the price goes up, our APR goes up. So there's no micromanagement. There's only opportunity. And if people prove that they can't handle opportunity or process opportunity, we'll stop providing it. This was built to say, ethically say, we will show you the way. You don't have to follow it. In fact, you not following the way, it's going to irritate the shit out of me. But it's over a longer term, it's that kind of behavior that benefits everybody else. In the short term, the reason we have Guardians and Direwolves is that if Guardians and Direwolves follow along and protect the price, they will always have an unfair advantage. Meaning, if this crowd in particular doesn't dump Night into the ground in the neck by the end of the week, I will increase this multiplier. Guard BUSD multiplier. Right? I told you, as long as you protect the ecosystem, this APY compounded will be over 70%. It's 76. We're right on track. Now, it doesn't matter if I 10x this multiplier and you all dump Night into the ground, it still won't be over 70%. So you have an opportunity to engineer your own wealth. If you don't want to take it, that's fine. There are plenty of ways to cut out all Guardian and Direwolves and do this on our own, right? Of course, that's less enjoyable. It is not as much fun. I probably wouldn't do it. But other projects, Pancake Swap, Ape Swap, Baby Swap, they all make a killing not letting anybody in on what's going on outside a team. So just know that there's opportunity. I don't want to take away opportunity. I want you guys to come up with us. I am doxxed. I have my personal reputation, my professional reputation. I want to increase that. I want to improve that. I want everybody to feel like, man, trusting those guys is the best decision we ever made. But that's on you. It's not on us to kill ourselves. Okay? Every opportunity provided by our team, just so you guys know, short term hurts us. We make less money. We have to spend more time. When I say here's an opportunity, right? Do you know how much Night we have? We could damp all of these down. But we want to give you the opportunity, right? And over a longer period of time, that's much more sustainable. So that's all we're concerned about. We're concerned about 5 years, 10 years. But as Guardians, as Direwolves, what's happening, and I know you don't recognize it, what's happening is, hey, thanks for the opportunity. And thanks for taking a little bit of a haircut in the short term for us. We appreciate that. Now, can you also do a bunch more work for me? What do you think? If you asked me that question, what would the response be? If anybody asked you the question, because I want you to be happy. If anybody ever said to you, hey, I see Nate, Mark, Steven, and Ann in the comments. Anybody said, hey, I really think that, thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I think that you should keep giving me opportunity at your expense. And also you should spend a whole bunch of time making sure that I get the opportunity at your expense. I would tell you to tell that person to fuck right off, because I want you to be happy. I don't want you to suffer at anybody's expense. So my hope is you don't want our team to suffer at your expense. Hopefully that makes sense. There are a million ways to build this thing. I'm going to try like hell to keep the early adopters, the Guardians, the Direwolves, and the Wolfden 10 steps ahead. It only benefits to keep you 10 steps ahead if being 10 steps ahead doesn't put us 5 steps behind. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So as far as strategy here, I'll show you a little bit. We do have raids coming for, we have, I gotta fix my screen. We have raids coming for Dark Knight. All right, so probably next week, next couple days, we'll have these raids. Same idea. You can start selling off raids for Phantom or USDC, and drop them right back in here. Now I'm going to have I would ride this for a while. There's going to be a farm that is ETH Phantom. That will be my favorite farm. I will build my personal treasury on Phantom in ETH Phantom. So I will be using raids. I won't sell undead, but I'll be selling off the raids, and I will be buying back Phantom. I already have $317,000 of Ethereum on Phantom, but I don't have that much Phantom to pair it with. So that's my personal strategy, is I'm going to use the raids, and I'm going to just keep compounding in here until this comes down to earth. I like Phantom. I am not using Dark Knight as a stable base. If you want to try to build a base, then you would probably want to use USDC. I am not. It's not a base for me. I have my base covered with stable, right? Guard BUSD and Bitcoin BUSD, and I have plenty of those to pay for all the things I need for many, many years. Okay, if you don't, then you might want to work on your stability over on Night. Okay. So again, I'm the beauty of DeFi. I'm looking at the comments here. The beauty of DeFi is there are things that I think we know intuitively as coaches, as leaders, that are frowned upon in being a service provider, right? Like, provide over the top service, be there for everyone all the time. And like, honestly, if Elon Musk, if Jeff Bezos, if the people that have actually changed the world were responding to every complaint and being nice all the time, they would not be changing the world. It's unfortunate. It's true. You don't have to be a complete a-hole like Steve Jobs. I work very, very hard on hoping that communicating with you guys in a way that you know that I'm not coming from a place of malice. I'm not trying to be an a-hole. There's trade-offs. There's just trade-offs, and my bandwidth has to go where it is most useful to me and most useful to the world, and that may not be the nicest to you. And I'm sorry about that. I really am. But adults got to make choices. So I will be loading up these raids. I'll probably load this up too until it's a little bit dampy down. And I will be selling for Phantom, and I'll be pairing with Ethereum, and I'll be putting it in the Ethereum Phantom, and I'm just going to build that for a very long time. If Ethereum ripped to 14 grand or something, I might consider taking it apart. But honestly, I want to sit on Ethereum and Phantom for like 5 years. So I just hold it right here where it benefits the project. You don't have to do that. Remember, I'm always putting the project first, so TVL is important. We're going to try to hold the line at about 50 cents. No promises. We do have some reserves, but we will never just buy back so that a bunch of people can get the fuck out. That's not appropriate for a project. So those are coming, okay? We have more raids coming tonight. But again, think about this. If you had $100,000 of Night, and don't worry about Night versus the price, like ballpark, $150,000 a night, and all of these are being held between 100 and 200%, then you can grow your golden goose, right? Because you're still going to have your farm and your pools, but you have $100,000 of Night unpaired. You can use these pools and get $100,000 a year while still growing your goose, because you don't have to take any of this apart, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Yep. And I get it, like, everybody thinks that there's no way to do this right. That's the other thing about DeFi. It's the reason why I love it. It's the reason why I thrive in it. Is it's extreme function over form. How do I accomplish this? Right? This is my goal. How do I get there? People go, is this the right way to do it? Like, there is no right way. Most efficient path forward. I've built so many random ass like contracts and vaults that do things that nobody else ever thought of, because they're just trying to do things right, and there is no right way. It's decentralized. There's no governing body telling you here's the rule book. right? People came in and said, this is not how you run Wolfies. This is not how you launch a token. You did this all wrong. Same with Guardian, blah, blah, blah. That's why I always say, did it wrong, did it wrong, did it wrong again. Because anybody that thinks there's a right way to do it doesn't understand DeFi. They might understand shitcoin. So a lot of people, like the rug doc, he's assuming that everybody wants to rug you. And so there is a right way to audit a coin that is likely to rug you. Yes, there is an effective way to do that. But the assumption is that everybody wants to rug you. And if they don't want to rug you, then that's not the right way to look at the project, is it? Of course, you don't know somebody's intentions, so you have to adopt these assumptions, and that's all groovy. Point is, there's no right way. So these raids, I would use them. You don't have to cash them out daily. If you're trying to, let me tell you, our treasury wallet's insane right now. There's like 36 grand a day or something stupid. But the reason is people like see our numbers or see other people's numbers, and then they do a bunch of dumb shit that ensures they'll never get there. Like they rush around. Somebody wanted to move their whole, sure you saw the post, their whole night stack to dark night. Let me tell you what, and this is fine. Let me tell you, this is somebody that's not only killing their old golden goose, but trying to kill the whole golden goose. I'll make more money if I move from dark night to night to dark night, which is not true because we understand base case and we understand compounding and we understand reliability. So you move it all over here and you think you're just making bank, which you probably are in the short term. And then what? You have one option, sell dark night, which is fine. You're welcome to do that. You're not only killing your own golden goose, but you're like killing the goose farm. It's very, very short-sighted to go, I'm going to move everything tonight into dark night, haha, and then I'll get rich. No. You're just going to tank yourself. And in the short term, you take a bunch of other people, but if they're patient, they know they're going to be fine because we'll just recover the price, buy the shit back. So it's just very, very, very myopic, very, very short-sighted, and everybody's wondering why they can't get rich. All they have to do is base case and chill. So as guardians, that is my my recommendation is sit. Honestly, this is a 90-day raid. I think most of these are 30, but that's fine. Most of them will renew, and if they don't, that's okay. You just go to inactive and get your night back and restake. If you are in a longer time preference, you can sit right here and accumulate more night. You're trying to work towards that $150,000 a night or whatever. But if you have a whole bunch of night and you want to get in here, get in farms, you might want to sit in these raids and sell them off, right? It doesn't really matter as long as you are compounding it back. This is how compounding gains work. It is shocking to me that I've shown the math. I've shown the compounding calculator, okay? And people are like, whoa, look at these huge numbers. And I don't know if they get confused or scared or what. Night has been a thing for like a month. And people are already moving stuff around. What the fuck is the point of a compounding calculator if you don't let anything compound? Like, does anybody, we understand how compounding works, right? It's backloaded. So if the APY, let me show you an example. If this APR is 76%, and let's say that works out to be $1 million a year, right? If it's APY, $1 million a year, you're not going to get $83,000 a month because it's compounding, which means a majority of that million is going to be in the last few months. So yes, it's $1 million a year. Your brain that operates on US dollar and doesn't consider compounding, like it's a very, very checkers instead of chess way to think, right? If you go, ooh, $1 million a year, that's 83 grand a month. You are not a super sophisticated investor or mathematician, right? It's a huge assumption, especially if we're talking about compounding gains. That means on average over time, it works out to be 83 grand a month, but the first month might be like 4 grand and the second month's like 4,500 and the third month is like 7 grand, right? And then Look at the compounding calculator. Look at the table. It goes like 1 million, 1.7 million, 3 million, 5.4 million, and then the numbers get huge, right? It's backloaded. So if you're sitting here going, I did the math, and this daily isn't really working out because I'm supposed to make $1,000 a month, but I didn't make as much today as I would need to make $1,000 a month. Well, no shit. It's going to compound to $1,000 a month. The last couple days of the month will be by far the largest payouts. That's how compounding works. Shocking to me that people claim to be data-driven and don't even have a concept of like, you don't have to be able to do the math in your head. Conceptually, you have to like see a graph or a chart, or like you have to be able to conceptualize that it's back-loaded. The total is back-loaded. The fact that that blows people's mind is terrifying to me, because these are people that are investing and thinking and teaching other people how to invest and stuff like that. Okay, so you can look APR daily, right? That's what you should expect daily. That's ballpark. It's going to fluctuate. This will be on track. But if you go yearly, and for some reason people do this, they go, all right, this is the APY. Now divide that by 12. That's what I should get monthly. No, this is what you'll get monthly on average, which is different than this divided by 12. I don't need to pull up a calculator to know that, right? That's what I'm talking about when you say conceptually. I know that this should not be this divided by 12. But this is monthly and this is yearly, so isn't this divided by 12? No. Because one is compounded, right? So if we go 17,730 divided by 12, boom. See? I'll show you this again. If you take the yearly 17,730 divided by 12, wouldn't you get the monthly? No, you wouldn't. Because this yearly is heavily backloaded. It averages out to this monthly, but it's accounting for the compounding. So people look at this like, why is there a discrepancy here? This is deceiving. Like, no, it's fucking math. Like, well, I did 367. Here's a good example. 367 times 12. So it should be 4,404. That is an accurate computation. This is a huge issue with people that like to think they're smart. Accurate computation. Poor mathematics. Right? People had shown me all these accurate, look, I did this math. This time, just like, yes, that computation, that calculation is accurate. It's poor mathematics. That's not the math that makes any sense, right? Like word problems on the SAT or something. Like, it's not about using a calculator. It's about knowing which algorithms or formulas to use. So hopefully that's helpful. So do me a favor, in lower tiers, be forgiving. I'm not super patient. But the way that this project grows and the way that this community grows is that you guys do not try to assume my disposition. Apple would not succeed. Tesla would not succeed if it was just a bunch of Steve Jobses and a bunch of Elon Musks. They just piss everybody off all the time and be impatient. So as a guardian, make your own decisions here. We're happy to walk you through it. We'll do more one-on-one calls like this, or not one-on-one, but guardian only for strategy, because we're going to have, as more raids come out, we're working on some yield aggregators and auto compounders and all this stuff. Our goal as guardians is protecting this, and what that means is that we have to have a longer time preference. If you're on a shorter time preference, it's okay. Just acknowledge it, and we can strategize for that too. But also in lower tiers, in night, right, in the night group, do not try to turn them into Wolfden members. They are not Wolfden members. They'll find their way here, but don't try to hammer the guard BUSD base case. Don't make them feel stupid for questions they ask. That's just not, that's not how we diffuse ideas. What we want, I'm going to try to explain this in a way that everybody can understand. Please don't take this out of context. Please don't share this outside of here. We want a majority of the population trying to ape in and out of these right here. Okay, we want a majority of the population aping in and out of these. We want people, we want to teach compounding, we want to educate, all right? But 99.999% of people aren't, you've probably tried to explain it to your friends and family, your partners, like even smart ones. They are not going to understand don't chase APY, don't chase APR. They're not going to understand guard as a base. We actually want to encourage them, if they want more stable, to go Night BUSD, Night BNB, because what I've done for you guys is not sustainable at scale. If the whole world did it, here's why, right? And that's not an alarm. It's like, this is hyper sustainable the way it is right now. But if the whole world knew what we knew, nobody would buy Night. There would be no price support. We would yield it. We'd use guard BUSD as a base, and we would yield it. And then we would sell half of it and pair it or compound it. So the whole entire world cannot know what we know. That's the point. Like I said, the market has upside because a bunch of people are going to do it wrong. So hopefully that makes sense. It's about getting your friends, your family. It's about educating. And then if they don't want to agree, that's fine. Outside of that, we want millions of people buying Night, using the Night pools, using the raids. We want pets, right? People that are fans of pets. So I'm staked for pets because I actually get the crates and I'm going to give them away. Oh, cool! I can get free pets. We want them to buy Night. That is where our yield comes from, is people buying Night. Now, at this point, as guardians, as direwolves, as educated investors, we also buy Night. We buy a shit ton of Night because these APRs, like, even if the price of Night got cut in half, which is never going to happen, the APR is still fucking insane. So we buy Night right now. But at scale, when this is lower, when this is 200, and we know that we can yield it, so we don't have to buy it, we still want most of DeFi to buy Night. If nobody buys Night, where does the price support come from? Right? Like, people are struggling to understand. I can tell by the questions, like, what happens if a whole bunch of people chase APY or APR? We can't control everybody. Like, yeah, no shit. This whole thing was built so that people do chase APY and APR unless they listen to the signal we give them. We are built so that people that are willing to think for themselves benefit. And everybody else benefits the people that think for themselves. Outside of that, some people will win big, some people will lose. That's how a market works. It's the people that listen to signal, pay attention, slow down, and follow our methodologies or even develop their own based on the principles that win. Everybody cannot win. We cannot have 99% of the market win. That's not going to happen. 99% of the market has to lose. Fortunately, the market is billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, meaning hundreds of millions of dollars of us can win. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. There's no way to build like this thing where everybody wins all the time. It's not possible. Of course, everybody in the Wolfden can win all the time because the rest of the market is trading. The rest of the market is losing. The rest of the market's chasing APY and APR. We want to provide signal to them so they can join us. But we're not going to kill ourselves trying to convince them of something that ends up shooting us in the foot. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Do me a favor, share your biggest takeaway in Twitter. Here, let me unmute the. Share your biggest takeaway in the Twitter, the Wolfie's Guardian community. Just say, hey, biggest takeaway from the Guardian only call. That'd be helpful for everybody, helpful for me, and we'll start talking more strategy as we get more pools and more farms and all that stuff.